The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos, holographic screens flashing red with urgent warnings. "We are losing every front," shouted the Valoran delegate, his scaled face twisted in despair. "We need a miracle." "Enough!" General Ethan Ward's voice cut through the din like a blade. The room fell silent. "You called for human help. Now, you follow our lead, or we all perish. Decide." Ward's words hung in the air, heavy with authority. The Council, an assembly of alien delegates, faced imminent collapse under the relentless assault of the Drakon Empire. The once unified front was now a fractured, desperate group grasping at their last hope. Ward stepped forward, his presence commanding. A seasoned military strategist, he had been summoned from the human colonies as a last resort. His reputation for unconventional but effective tactics had preceded him. "You asked for me because you need a solution, not more arguments," he continued, his gaze sweeping across the room. "So let's get to work." The holographic display shifted, showing a map of the Drakon Empire's vast territory. "Their strength lies in their command structure," Ward explained. "We take out their leaders. We cripple their operations." "How can we do that?" The Orian delegate, a burly warrior with deep-set eyes, asked. "Their defenses are impenetrable." Ward nodded. "Not if we hit them from within. We'll use covert operations and precise strikes. It's risky, but it's our best shot." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. They had always fought by the book, adhering to a code of honor. Ward's proposal was bold, almost reckless, but it was clear that conventional methods had failed. The Lian representative, a slender figure with multifaceted eyes, broke the silence. "What do you need from us?" "Full strategic authority," Ward replied without hesitation. "I need your best operatives, your trust, and no interference." The room erupted into murmurs of dissent and fear. "You're asking us to place everything in your hands," the Valoran delegate said, his voice trembling. "Yes," Ward answered, his tone unwavering, "because if we don't act now, there won't be anything left to save." After a tense moment, the council leader, an elder with silver scales, raised his hand. "We have no choice. We must trust him. General Ward, you have our support." Ward inclined his head in acknowledgement. "Thank you. We begin immediately." Ward gathered his team in a secure briefing room. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing the layout of the Drakon Command Center. "We'll infiltrate their central command," Ward began, pointing to key locations on the map. "Disable their communications, eliminate their leaders, and dismantle their command structure." His team consisted of a diverse group, a stealth expert from the Orian clans, a tech specialist from the Lian collective, and a fierce Valoran warrior. Each brought unique skills vital to the mission. They listened intently, understanding the gravity of their task. "We move at dawn," Ward concluded. "Prepare yourselves. This is our only chance." General Ethan Ward gathered his team in the secure briefing room. The atmosphere was tense but focused. Holographic displays lit up, casting a blue glow on the faces of the operatives. "We have one shot at this," Ward began, his voice steady. "Our target is the Drakon Command Center. We take out their leaders, and their forces will collapse." The team consisted of elite operatives from the Coalition's finest. There was Tarek, an Orion stealth expert, with a reputation for slipping past the tightest security; Lyra, a Lian tech specialist capable of hacking into any system; and Korr, a Valoran warrior known for his brutal efficiency in combat. Ward pointed to the holographic map of the Drakon Command Center. "Tarek, you'll infiltrate their perimeter and disable the external defenses. Lyra, once inside, you'll breach their mainframe and disrupt communications. Korr, you and I will handle the primary targets." Tarek nodded, his expression unreadable beneath his dark hood. "I've scouted their patrol patterns. I can get us in undetected." Lyra tapped on her datapad, her eyes scanning streams of data. I've mapped out their network. I'll need access to their central hub to disable the security protocols." Korr grunted, flexing his massive arms. "Just point me to the targets, General." Ward allowed himself a brief smile. "We move at dawn. Stay sharp and stick to the plan." The hours leading up to the mission were spent in rigorous preparation. Tarek meditated in silence, his breathing slow and controlled. Lyra fine-tuned her hacking tools, her fingers flying over the keyboard with practiced precision. Korr checked his weapons, his movements methodical and deliberate. Ward watched them, feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. These were the best of the best, and he had no doubt in their abilities. But the weight of the mission's importance pressed heavily on him. Failure was not an option. As dawn approached, the team assembled in the deployment bay. Ward looked at each of them, his gaze firm. "Remember, we do this for the coalition. Stick to your roles, and we'll get through this." They boarded the stealth transport, its engines humming softly. The journey to the Drakon command center was filled with a tense silence, each operative lost in their thoughts. Ward reviewed the plan one last time, ensuring every detail was covered. Upon arrival, Tarek led the way, his movements fluid and silent. They navigated through the dense forest, surrounding the Drakon base, using the natural cover to their advantage. Tarek signaled for them to halt as a patrol passed by, his hand raised in a silent command. Once clear, they continued reaching the perimeter fence. Tarek disabled the sensors with deft precision, and the team slipped inside. The command center loomed ahead, a fortress of metal and stone. Lyra took the lead, guiding them to the central hub. She plugged into the mainframe, her eyes focused as streams of code flashed across her screen. "I'm in," she whispered, fingers dancing over the keys. "Disabling security now." Ward and Korr moved forward, navigating the labyrinthine corridors with practiced ease. They reached the command room, where Drakon officers were gathered, unaware of the impending strike. "On my signal," Ward murmured. Korr readied his weapon, his eyes locked on the targets. Ward raised his hand, and with a swift motion, they stormed the room. The Drakon officers had no time to react. Within seconds, the room was secured, their primary targets eliminated. "Phase 1 complete," Ward said into his comm. "Regroup and prepare for Phase 2. The infiltration team moved like shadows through the labyrinthine corridors of the Drakon Command Center. General Ethan Ward led the way, his senses heightened, every sound amplified in the tense silence. Tarek, the Orian stealth expert, glided beside him, his footsteps silent on the metallic floor. "Perimeter secure," Tarek whispered into his comm, his eyes scanning for any sign of movement. "Proceeding to the next checkpoint." Ward nodded, signaling Lyra and Korr to follow. Lyra, the Lian tech specialist, was already at work, her fingers flying over her datapad as she hacked into the security system. "I'm disabling the internal sensors," she murmured. "We should have a clear path to the command hub." Korr, the Valoran warrior, kept his weapon ready, his muscles tense and coiled for action. "Just say the word, General," he growled, his eyes locked on the corridor ahead. They moved swiftly, bypassing guards and automated defenses with practiced ease. Tarek's scouting had paid off, and they encountered minimal resistance. The real challenge lay ahead in the command hub, where the Drakon leaders were stationed. As they approached the command hub, Lyra paused, her brow furrowing in concentration. "I'm encountering resistance in the network," she said, her voice edged with frustration. "They've reinforced their firewalls." "Can you get through?" Ward asked, his tone calm but urgent. "Give me a moment," Lyra replied, her fingers dancing over the screen. After a tense silence, she grinned. "Got it? Security systems are down." Ward signaled for the team to advance. They reached the command hub's entrance, a massive door reinforced with heavy plating. "Tarek, get us inside," Ward ordered. Tarek nodded, attaching a small device to the door's control panel. There was a faint hiss, and the door slid open, revealing a room filled with Drakon officers, their attention focused on a large holographic display. "Go," Ward barked, and the team sprang into action. Korr moved first, a blur of motion as he charged into the room, his weapon firing with lethal precision. Tarek and Ward followed, covering the flanks and taking out targets with practiced efficiency. Lyra stayed by the entrance, her eyes scanning the room for any hidden threats. The Drakon officers were caught off guard, their surprise giving the team the advantage. Within moments, the room was secured, the primary targets neutralized. Ward approached the central console, accessing the Drakon command network. "Commence Phase 2, Ward instructed into his comma. "Disable their fleet communications." Lyra moved to the console, her fingers a blur as she worked to disrupt the Drakon communications. "I'm in," she announced. "Fleet communications are offline." Ward turned to Korr and Tarek. "Secure the perimeter. We can't afford any surprises." As Korr and Tarek moved to secure the exits, Ward and Lyra focused on their next objective, dismantling the Drakon command structure. "We need to plant the disruption devices," Ward said, handing Lyra a small, sleek device. "These will ensure their systems stay down." They moved quickly, planting the devices at key points around the command hub. The air was thick with tension, every second feeling like an eternity. Finally, the last device was in place. "Let's move," Ward ordered. "We need to get out before they realize what's happening." The team retraced their steps, moving swiftly through the corridors. As they exited the command center, Ward activated the disruption devices. A series of small explosions rocked the facility, crippling the Drakon's command capabilities. "Mission accomplished," Ward said, his voice filled with a mix of relief and determination. "The Drakon Empire's command structure is in ruins." The coalition forces erupted in cheers as news of the mission's success spread. The Drakon Empire's command structure lay in ruins, its leaders defeated. General Ethan Ward and his team returned to the coalition's command center, greeted by a mixture of relief and admiration. Ward stepped off the transport, his eyes scanning the crowd of jubilant soldiers and civilians. He felt a weight lift from his shoulders, but knew the victory came with heavy costs. Tarek, Lyra, and Korr followed, their expressions a blend of exhaustion and pride. Council leader Theron, his silver scales gleaming in the morning light, approached Ward. "You did it, General. The Drakon are in disarray. You've given us a fighting chance." Ward nodded, but his gaze was distant. "We've struck a blow, but the war isn't over. The Drakon will regroup. We need to stay vigilant." Theron's face grew serious. "What's your next move?" Ward took a deep breath. "First, we secure our position and reinforce our defenses. Then, we need to plan for any counterattacks. This victory is a turning point, but it's not the end." As the coalition leaders convened to discuss the next steps, Ward and his team retreated to a quieter part of the command center. They needed a moment to decompress, to process everything that had happened. "That was close," Tarek said, leaning against a wall, his voice tinged with fatigue. "Too close." Lyra nodded, her fingers still twitching as if they were still at the console. "We pulled it off, though. We hit them hard where it hurts." Korr, always the stoic warrior, simply grunted. "They won't recover easily from this." Ward looked at his team, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "You all did an outstanding job. We struck a critical blow, and we did it together." As the adrenaline wore off, the team's mood grew somber. Lyra broke the silence, her voice soft. "Do you think it was worth it? All those lives lost, the things we had to do." Ward met her gaze, his expression serious. "War demands sacrifices. We did what was necessary to survive, but we must never forget the cost." Tarek nodded, his eyes reflecting the weight of their actions. "We'll carry those memories with us. It's the price of victory." The conversation shifted to the future. They discussed the importance of unity, of learning from their experiences to build a stronger coalition. Ward emphasized the need for continued cooperation among the coalition's diverse members. "We've shown what we can accomplish together," he said, "but we need to remain united, to support each other. That's how we'll truly win this war." Theron joined them later, his demeanor one of quiet determination. "The Council has agreed to your plan, General. We'll strengthen our defenses and prepare for the next phase." Ward nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "Good. We'll need every resource, every ally we can muster. The Drakon won't give up easily, but neither will we." As night fell, Ward found himself alone, looking out at the stars. The battle had been won, but the war for their future was just beginning. He reflected on the lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the challenges that lay ahead. "We've come this far," he thought, determination hardening his resolve. "We'll see this through to the end."